Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for Game 4, which features, unsurprisingly, Team Liquid versus OpTic Gaming. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. And selecting the blue side is going to be Team Liquid. Their top laner is Impact, jungler Xmithy, mid laner Pobelter, double lift in bot lane alongside Ole with the Coach Kane.
And opposite them on the red side today is going to be OpTic Gaming. In the top lane today, Dokla. In the jungle, Acadian. Power of Evil in the mid lane. Bot and support going to be Arrow and Big with Coach Zabutin.
Going to be fun to watch for. Now, with all the lessons NA took away from Rift Rivals, Splyce put another into the pile, which is that no Liquid victory is ever predetermined.
That's definitely the case. I mean, even in week 3 against Clutch, people had TL as heavy favorites and they fell down there, but everyone was really high on Liquid as NA's hope. But they did lose in that best of 5 against Splyce after the Echo Fox upset, and that really, was where things kind of fell off the track. They did have some issues, I think, in their draft. Really, not enough focus. I think people felt really heavily on Aatrox and the Heimerdinger, whether it was knowing what to play against it or banning it or playing it yourselves. That certainly wasn't there for a lot of the NA teams at Rift Rivals.
Yeah, definitely big things there. Of course, this could be a window of opportunity for OpTic, of course, who have been struggling a little bit this season, but still happy to try out new things and try out new styles.
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of called their shot on what was strong, and that I think has been funneling. They have really been funneling Power of Evil pretty heavily, but it hasn't always all come together, and it doesn't always feel like Power of Evil has the support he needs around the map, and partly that's a product of your draft, right? When you are doing a funnel comp, you're putting so many resources into this guy, the rest of the map is going to get ignored and sometimes then fall behind, but everyone needs to contribute and kind of hold up their end of the bargain to get your funnel-y to that strong point.
And that has been kind of an issue. To underscore the funnel point, I mean, 2 weeks ago, back in week 3, they actually even benched Acadian to put Gate in as the jungler to be a funnel support for Power of Evil in that mid-jungle lane. But yeah, to your point about everyone else holding up their bargains, I mean, I don't know what's really happened with Arrow, but this is a guy that was really good over in Korea, looked really good for a while on Phoenix 1, but never seems like he's gotten back to his old self, his sort of fairly dominant self within OpTic Gaming. And last split, it's like, ooh, maybe we all blame Elimination for that one, maybe washed up support. Yeah, right, exactly. Like, Arrow was so good before, and I don't think we've really seen that version of him in quite a while, but hopefully this will be the time things turn around. OpTic Gaming, by the way, Acadian back in the roster. Big still the starting support, as he has been the whole split long. Also want to point out Dokla back in. He played 2 Ornn games back in, I believe it was week 1. Olorum played weeks 2 and 3, playing some more Ornn, some more Mundo, and now Dokla's back.
Yeah, it's been kind of a bit of a revolving door there in the top lane for OpTic, obviously in Spring Split, rotating in Zig and Dokla, and now Olorum is up there as well. Still have yet to settle on kind of which top laner is going to work best, and maybe they will just continue to rotate through them, but Dokla hasn't had the most success, certainly in the LCS, still really looking to kind of prove himself.
There we go, Aatrox, Zoe, my brain will work eventually, off the table so far. OpTic Gaming doing some of the pretty standard considered OP picks. You can see the Rakan ban is going to remove one of the funnel options for PoE. Kindred, of course, a very, very strong jungler. We heard Contract say recently, maybe just the best jungler in the game right now. And one funnel ban being on a Nocturne. Remove that from Xmithy.
Well, a Taliyah early pick here could mean a number of things. You obviously can see Taliyah jungle, Taliyah mid in the LCK as well as the LPL. You're seeing Taliyah in the bottom lane, kind of as a farming champion there. You can do Taliyah funnel, as we saw TSM do for Bjergsen. So really, Taliyah is incredibly versatile, and I think that is one of the strengths of it as an early pick. So TL going to be able to grab it first and kind of keep their options open a bit. Definitely not expecting Double Lift to play it, though. Likely to be in the mid lane for Pobelter or jungle for Xmithy.
Yeah, likely spots for that one right here. OpTic Gaming taking their time, but they're going to lock in Fiddlesticks, and that could mean the incredibly annoying poke-heavy bottom lane of Fiddleheimer, but lots of other options there as well. Fiddlesticks definitely rising in priority slowly but surely throughout this split. Almost always played as support, and pretty poke-heavy, pretty annoying in that regard.
Yeah, Zabutin repping France today. You can see the flag on his cheek. And it will be interesting to see if Heimerdinger does come out. We haven't seen it yet from OpTic, but we have been seeing a lot of that today, and it is going to be the bottom lane. And now I think it's going to be a good test for Liquid, right? Because we saw them fall short against Heimerdinger, against Splyce. Very clearly, Double Lift and Ole weren't fully prepared for that. They didn't really know necessarily what to play into it, how to play around it. This is kind of a good barometer for that. Did you learn something from those Rift Rivals games? What will your picks be into it? Are you going to bring out something like a Sivir, or are you going to go for an all-in lane? Or really, what is the option and how well can you execute it?
And it's going to be interesting as well. This is Arrow's first non-marksman pick in the bottom lane, though OpTic had been happy to stick with Funnel a lot of the time. They had been playing standard bot lanes the whole way through with Arrow and Big playing together. So a new look here. Shen up at the top or support. Pretty common flex pick here for Team Liquid is available. And we're going to see if they want to pick one for double before this end.
There's a 0% chance you pick Vayne into middle sticks.
Yeah, that seems pretty bad. Unless you flex it top and you send Uzi in there to go 1v1 on Mundo, that's a champion that's going to be picked up in the top lane. Impact on Mundo has been Shen's support 99% of the time.
Definitely the case, and the bot lane is going to be held here for TL. Perhaps want to see what the rest of the draft is going to kind of shake out into. I do feel this kind of pushes OpTic to draft for an aggressive top laner, and because Dokla has not been a guy to really play that, it can kind of make it a little bit difficult. Mundo matches up very well into Ornn, for example, which is all Dokla has actually played this season. And even looking at Alorum, he has 2 Ornn games. So 4 of the 6 games have been Ornn. The other 2 were Mundo for OpTic, right? That's all they picked. If you're going to just say, okay, well, I guess I play Ornn into Mundo, well, that's very good for Impact. That's an advantageous matchup, and that's honestly, in a draft like this, kind of preying on the champion pools or some of the weaknesses that OpTic really does kind of have in draft.
And meanwhile, we see Acadian going back to his sort of more natural style as well. He had 3 Xin Zhao games so far this split and a Nunu, which he funneled with, but now on Graves here is going to be more sort of farm-oriented damage, early pressure. Acadian definitely is not going to be funneling with this champion. PoE could still run Smite and self-funnel, but Acadian will be making his own choices this game.
Yeah, definitely what we are expecting, unless it's something wacky like what we saw from 100 Thieves at Rift Rivals, where Levi was the one getting funneled. They are going to ban out Darius just in case Dokla is willing to play that and limit the options a bit there. I do think Graves also just bringing a consistent physical damage source is going to be nice when you already have 2 magic damage dealers on the table against a Shen and a Mundo. You want to be able to kind of diversify there a little bit for some more difficult itemization choices. Galio being taken away. Interesting. So, OpTic banning away the Galio tells me they think it is going to be the jungle Talia and kind of taking away Galio as an option here for Pobelter. Banning away Kaisa from Doublelift, one of his most preferred marksmen in that bottom lane. And I've still kind of been waiting to see Sivir as an answer to Heimerdinger, because that is something that I feel is quite effective against it, but we have not yet really seen it pop up here.
Well, maybe Doubles will bring it out this time around. I do think it's interesting with the way they've done their bans and picks so far with the Talia. Liquid, from what I'm seeing, have not played any Talia jungle or mid so far in this split, and yet here they are banning away that Galley that we expect to be a mid lane pick right here. So kind of making the blind read, expecting it to maybe go to Xfinity, though he hasn't shown it just yet, and now it's time for OpTic to make their picks for their last couple of roles.
Yeah, I mean, things have to change a little bit for Pobelter, though, right? Like, he had been playing mostly Aurelia. 4 Aurelia games. He brought it out at Rift Rivals as well.
Yeah, there as well.
It has been nerfed quite a bit, right? So you're taking those hits on the Aurelia. You do have to find, another mid lane pick that he's comfortable on. He has played the Galio and the Yasuo. Those are his other 2 games, but going to be something new, and
Jarvan top.
Maybe the option.
Jarvan top, the lock-in here for Dokla. I don't necessarily know the matchup versus Mundo, but it's going to be so interesting to watch for.
It's definitely preferential early on, I would say, to the Jarvan, but Jarvan doesn't have the best scaling, and certainly Mundo can start to take over later. Using that kind of first hit passive, though, from Jarvan, you can kind of poke people out with your Q, and if you want to build aggressively into something like a lot of Jarvans like to go a Titanic Rush, a Titanic plus an Executioners, people often go Grasp. You can duel up fairly well against that Mundo. Cool. But if the Mundo plays it safely, you can get enough farm, get to even items, and really do start to become more effective.
So matchup we will watch for, and in the end of the day, it's going to be Mundo jungle anyway, as it looks like Shen top, Talia going mid, as Tom Kench support's been grabbed for Ole. So I do like Mundo jungle a lot. Of course, things could still move, like Mundo mid could exist or something.
Yeah, this could actually be...
Because like, unless you're playing Tom Kench top, which like I guess can also be a thing, but at the end of the day, it's flexible and there's no hard guarantees.
Are they funneling a Mundo?
I don't know. We'll wait to see what everything goes to in
funneling a Talia with
select.
The Shen, I think.
That might be it. That might be
exactly
funneling a Talia with Shen, as we have Pobelter working on Smite. Big brain right here, lots of wrinkles in it.
Yeah.
Azael found it out. Either way, Talia going to be facing up against a Syndra here into this one, as we've got a new look here as Power of Evil playing a champion, of course, he's known for quite a bit. Not going to be self-funneling on that one, but instead going to be looking at the attempt to one-shot a backliner, but he's against Tom Kench. That's going to be difficult.
It certainly is, but yeah, this is very interesting. I haven't really seen Shen as kind of the funneler, or like the support in that mid lane. It's generally been Alistar, Braum, Taric, champions like this. What Shen does have, though, your Q actually does that percentage HP, so it actually is pretty effective at killing big monsters in the jungle early on, so you can help there as far as clearing out that jungle for you, Talia, but it will be that Graves for Acadian. Smithy is going to be piloting the support Shen essentially in the mid lane to really funnel up this Talia for Pobelter. And this is a triple tank 2-threat team where your 2 threats are the Talia and the Jhin, who are not the most consistent of team fighters as far as easy to output damage, I find. So yeah, we'll see how effective they're going to be able to be.
Skill shot reliant can be outplayed. When they hit really hard, don't get me wrong, but absolutely this can be unreliable. So something to watch for there. If the skill shots miss, the damage does fall off. OpTic Gaming playing something a little bit more standard. And actually, I do see that PoE did switch over to Smite. So the Syndra is going to be self-funding at least a little bit, though Acadian is on the Graves. That Jarvan is going top. Will be a fun one to watch for as Arrow plays his first non-marksman in the LCS Summer Split, and we are into the game.
This is very interesting. So, I haven't seen Smite Syndra, and Syndra to me seems like someone who's pretty vulnerable if you're actually, invading your opponent's jungle and trying to take things away. You can contest camps, though, like Raptors, if they are available. And one of the big things here, I simply think he might be taking Smite heavily to smite cannons. You smite the cannon to push the wave a lot faster, and then if you have this Talia Shen combo in the jungle farming, the wave is going to crash a lot faster. They're going to lose more minions, more experience, and perhaps really not get as much out of it as they would want, because Syndra is not like a Talon and isn't someone who's as flexible to move around the map solo and steal camps. And again, this is just a prediction. Have not actually seen Smite Syndra mid yet.
Yeah, me either. I kind of think back to old CLG EU Froggen days. Yeah, Arrow going to take some damage, going to be rooted up in place by Jhin, and how many autos can Ola get through onto him? 1, 2, and not quite number 3. You saw, yes, Heimerdinger turrets up in that wolf camp, though. I believe he cast them while still under home guard, with the celerity boost giving him a bunch of ability power, and he can revive those later on. He's recalled for some health and some mana, and he can pretty easily kill the wolf camp by himself, or with a very, very minor leash, and have an XP lead coming into lane.
I think he's actually leashing for Power of Evil while going bottom lane. And this is what I'm thinking he's going to do, is actually come over, wake up these turrets. Power of Evil starts with Smite. I think Power of Evil is going to be the one to take the experience here, while the Heimer is just kind of providing this big leash with that Crow Storm and the triple turrets. And yeah, really clever stuff. I love it. I think this is pretty cool. Unfortunately, Big did take one Little Wolf, so not hitting straight level 2, but Power of Evil will be getting that level 2 right now.
Yeah, he's fine.
Good stuff. I mean, I like to see the creativity.
Yeah, so trying to optimize as much farm as they can get, of course, and even PoE didn't need Smite to make that happen. If Heimer's leashing for you, you can just kill that probably without the 390 damage coming through from rank 1 Smite, but it means Acadian's going to go pretty aggressively, grabs his own red immediately into the opposing blue, and no one is near him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be him taking it away. Because Power of Evil is faster to level 2, Power of Evil is going to be able to kind of contest this wave a little bit better than he otherwise would be able to, and this is giving Graves a bit of free time to steal away some of these camps, and we'll see if he's actually caught out.
Oh, he's afraid of getting
going
found.
Back to base, yeah, because he doesn't know if they're going to scuttle or straight to blue and then kind of sussing out where he might be, so he wants to take the safer of the options, but they have spotted that blue is gone.
Even though that play looks silly to a spectator, fully respect the discretion, better part of Valor. Like, if they're coming, that's first blood and a free red and blue, so
yeah,
they go.
I think it's definitely the smart play there. He could have risked it and maybe got an additional camp, but he's saying risk versus reward is not very good there. Put himself very far behind potentially if it goes bad, so he's going to go down to the dragon side, take away a scuttle of his own, and then he's still going to have that one camp that they stole away and have an additional camp kind of on his side of the map to clear because of that. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff so far from the two teams. Some new strategies coming out and kind of new counter responses.
Ooh. And you can see, I think I heard another turret come down, so Arrow did go for the E into cast to Q. Jat showed that start of the day. Go back and watch that if you want to see some more Heimer mechanics. But yeah, E into Q gets that extra beam out, gets a bunch of damage, and he's pushing double effect.
And you can see the boot start, Boots 4-pot. If you remember back to the lethality days, like where it was just Jhin, Ashe, Varus, everyone started going, okay, originally it's Doran's Blade, well, I get poked too much. Okay, now it's Longsword 3-pot, now it's Boots 4-pot, and this is really something that you can do as an answer to the super, super poke-heavy lanes, to be able to stay around and sustain long enough to actually get a preferential buy, because those 4 potions are going to sustain you so much more in the time that you're in lane than the lifesteal of a Doran's Blade or a Doran's Shield really could.
And I also want to point out the fact that Doublelift is not going Halo of Blades, but actually Fleet Footwork for a bit more sustain on this Jhin. And I think they are similar-ish in power. I think in a general case that Halo of Blades is a generically slightly stronger rune, but if you need to play laning phase and not die outright in laning phase, Fleet Footwork will win you more games maybe in this matchup. And I think it's a fairly intelligent choice by Doublelift to consider that as one of his options and is doing it here. Obviously not surprised by Halo Blades existing, but either way, stunned up, and again, a couple shots come through. Most of that was dodged by Ole eating Doublelift and not a minion on the Tahm Kench.
Yeah, I mean, even though with that 4-pot start, no potions forced on their opponents. You know, they are getting completely poked out. He is out of health potions completely, and he's gone very heavily into the lifestyle. He actually has Legend Bloodline as well as Overheal also, so really getting all of the lifesteal style talents he can there. And
not with the knockup, but a slow impact. Will he have to burn the flash? There's no red buff on the squad, so not going to pin him down very much. Get some nice blows there. He's actually getting a little bit too aggressive, has to flash away. He chose to dodge skill shots, but didn't get rid of any of them. Does lose the flash at the end of the day.
Yeah, kind of trying to, he almost outplayed himself a little bit there. He's trying to dodge too many things and kind of going back in for the melee attacks. I feel like he could have just literally right-clicked back to his turret and maybe got out without the flash. It's hard to say though, and he was trying to dodge any potential flag and drag or end of the line coming out there from Graves to kind of dodge any potential skill shots either way. OpTic get a summoner on the flash, and they do force out the TP here as well. Dokla should be able to hold his, and it was interesting that they didn't decide to actually commit for the flag and drag flash, because if Dokla hit that knockup, maybe they can actually then flash follow and get the kill, but these are hard calls to make, and Dokla actually committing for the TP, I think, to try to contest this stuff.
Ooh, Tahm Flash comes in, the knockback, they have all the damage they need, first blood, but I'm not going to trade in. How's it going to look as the ult comes across, but also getting low on health, one more hit will do him in, and Dokla gets the kill. Looking now for Xpithy maybe, but no, he's going to walk right back on this one as a quick jump on the scuttle. This will go over to OpTic, a trade of kills. First blood, though, to Liquid.
Yeah, they get the first blood. It is a trade back with the kill, and the scuttle also goes over to OpTic, but that is kind of a kill lane. We've seen actually Talia Shen, Talia Alistar, these sorts of combos played in the bottom lane. I haven't seen it yet as this funnel, but you set up the CC, it guarantees the fling out of that, and that is the burst damage that came out there. Getting first blood, unfortunately, it does go on to Smithy. Here it is one more time. Smithy taunt flash into the fling. Enough damage to actually get the kill, but Mundo not in position here. Impact can't really come down, and the flash follow from Dokla means they trade a kill and will grab the scuttle.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about keeping your flash up, though. I agree with you from earlier that maybe a flash could have meant a Mundo kill, but
it's risky.
Yeah, it's the risky, and here he's got the flash to burn at something else. As now they look back in the top lane with the ultimate on. Impact did not have a flash to get away, and that's actually a pretty much ensured kill. So back they went to the top lane, and Akaden's been part of several important kills now. Burning the flash top lane, the repeat gank to make the kill happen, and even though he didn't get an assist, still kind of part of that play in the river and help make things happen. Ooh, nice stop right there by Doublelift.
Yeah, pretty annoying there to have that recall actually stopped. Will lose some minions, and this is the Acer Predator replay here. Dokla and Acadian back up to the top side. They know Impact is flashless, so it's an easy Cataclysm to set it up, and just a clean regank, honestly. No way for Impact to really get out from this one. Does actually sidestep the Graves Q, but not going to be enough for him there.
Nicely done with that gank. And they knew just, hey, show up. He's got no flash. I have ult. Come on, make it your way over here. And nothing fancy required. Just simply raw DPS. So Acadian going to grab his red buff. Pretty close to level 6. Going to reset right here. This game, 200 gold apart. Actually, OpTic are down despite being up 2-1 in kills. There is much more farm as Team Liquid actually get a lot more done in this bottom lane.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Doublelift was getting poked out so heavily, but he's just straight up out CSing them. And this is one of the things that really kind of speaks to comfort on the champion, is how well players are actually able to farm. And I've seen a lot of marksman players playing not so well when trying to farm bot lane on a mage, because the last hitting is different, especially with timer. The turrets, if you're not actually timing your autos properly, can mess you up and kind of make it so that a minion gets the last hit and so on and so forth. So you really do need to put in time to get that practice, because by all accounts, OpTic should be up in farm. They're the ones who had Doublelift under the turret. They're the ones who had Doublelift without pots, getting poked out, being pressured. That just means you straight up missed a bunch of last hits.
Yeah. We shouldn't have been denied too much here. Fiddlesticks only still up to 6 with the bouncing crow. So even that, it's like, oh, well, Fiddle took... No, not even what happened right here as well. Arrow's still going for the
Down 18.
the fanned rocket.
Is significant.
Yeah, that's actually substantial. That's high end for losing lane right here. So rough stuff. OpTic, of course, also behind. Well, they were behind top lane. They actually just recently caught up is Dokla. That's of course with a wave shove. So 5CS about to come to impact as he hits under turret.
It is worth noting though, Power of Evil with the self funnel, if we want to call it that, has really stayed pretty even with Pobelter, right? And meanwhile, Acadian is also going to have more farms. If you I like to add up Acadian plus Power of Evil farm and compare that, kind of to that of Pobelter. And obviously that is going to be preferential to the side of OpTic. So they've been answering this kind of 2v2 in the mid lane fairly well, and also using the lane priority that Dokla has very well to come down and challenge for these scuttles. Because you saw again, even though it didn't result in anything, Dokla roamed down. He was camping out in the Baron pit. If any potential fight broke out, it would have been a 3v2. Mundo wouldn't have been able to respond because he's pushed in.
All right, well, this is the way it is right here. 200 gold lead to Liquid all the same. As again, we mentioned that roam coming down, but nothing picked up for it. As I've got to push away Liquid, and now looking for double lift there. Big getting some damage across and waiting to go for his spear. He wants to choose the time to trigger Aftershock. Does not quite get rooted in place. Double lift walks back out. Low health bars, though. OpTic took a pretty bad trade there. And now on the top side, a 2 versus 1 as Shen is coming to arrive. Smithy here to gank top lane as the jungler should be. A lot of damage, and Dokla's going to fall. He still finds a way to gank Smithy.
Yeah, nicely done there from Smithy. You hit 6. Well, he's 7 now on that Shen, and first ultimate gets a kill. That's going to feel so good, but OpTic trying to respond with pressure in the mid lane. The bottom lane play kind of failed. They were trying to roam down there and actually punish double lift, but Ole and double lift both spread out and actually avoided the ultimate grenade coming in from Arrow, allowing them to safely retreat. And at the same time, that prompts that play on the top side of the map, knowing that OpTic has 4-man bot. And all that time that Acadian has actually put up to the top side, well, that advantage is basically gone. I mean, he's down 10 farm. They're evening kills. He has an assist, but really, Impact is looking pretty good in this matchup. And yeah, in my experience, it kind of just gets worse for Jarvan over time.
Well, maybe the window to knock this one down is closing for OpTic. They did get a couple of ganks up there, but one trade kill on the farm is better for Impact, and maybe the game is slipping away. Now, Liquid has been known as a very good early game team, statistically top 3 in the NALCS for early games, and obviously coming into the week tied for first place in match record, and maybe poised to keep that one going.
Yeah, certainly in a pretty good spot, but OpTic does have also an incredible amount of actual AoE damage in the team fight. If you can set it up with a Cataclysm, you have the Crow Storm coming out from Big and an Alt Grenade coming through from Arrow and all of Scatter of the Week and AoE damage coming across from Power of Evil, etc., etc. Like, these guys all do AoE damage, so if you can catch out Pobelter or Double Lift and instantly kill them, or even catch them both, the team fight could end very quickly in favor of OpTic, because if Pobelter and Double Lift go down, there's really not much damage left in the tank, whereas OpTic is going to have many more threats. Really all 5 of these guys are kind of more high damage characters than Impact, Smithy, and Ole are.
It'll make it fun to watch at the end of the game. Look at the post-game damage stats and how many of OpTic actually are out-damaging a Tom Kench. But right here we've got the attempts into the mid side as Gideon trying to run away. A big double stun comes across the Crow Storm as well, and it's oh no, it's just 1 kill for 1 so far. Actually not too bad, and almost grenade comes across looking for Ole to get that kill. 2-1 so far. OpTic ahead in this fight, looking for a big knockout. They're going to find a bit of damage onto Shen. Dunk comes across, stopwatch to buy a few seconds. Acadian waiting for the wall to drop to land his Q. Big damage on Smith. The arrows fan out. The rockets land, and big damage coming across. A big lead so far, but still trading back as Tia look for a bit more. Acadian on the chase towards Pobelter, but Arrow finds another fan of rockets, another trade of kills, but Impact, his days are numbered, and that's going to be a delayed ace, I do believe. Liquid picking up only 3.
Yeah, and Ole and Double Lift ulting in there without the proper vision, without the knowledge of who was around. Double Lift goes down immediately, and you see what a fight can look like with that carry down. So here comes the ultimate, and I mean, you just don't have the vision to make that play happen. Double Lift dies before anything really gets going, and the TPs do come in here from TL. Thankfully, they have Pobelter alive to put out the damage, but look at these Crow Storms. Look how effective that is, getting maximum bounces back and forth between the players, and then Smithy falling short on the taunt, just barely not able to catch Acadian. The damage and ult grenade does miss, but again, really effective. Crow bounces there from Big, and OpTic are able to get an ace in the delayed 5-4-3.
The time they all dropped, the bot lane had respawned, and in fact, they've walked back into the bot lane as well, going for turret damage, but it's absolutely rough stuff out of Liquid, but it makes the game only tied. OpTic just 200 gold lead to themselves as they come back in, but Arrow now 3-0. Luden's Echo done is in a very good spot.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how Arrow actually performs for the rest of the game, because generally the alt grenade is considered the most consistent of the ultimate abilities, you know, the easiest to hit. So far, he's 0 for 2. He's kind of whiffed on both of those, and let's see how effective he can be in those later stage team fights. But looking to get aggressive again.
Good stun, though. Stops the ulti right away, so Double Lift doesn't get really many meaningful shots out. Blue buff steal, I believe, was attempted, but PoE grabbed that without much issue as mid lane is now shoved back in, and Acadian will collect up that farm.
Yeah, Power of Evil farming the jungle a decent bit, but honestly, most of the jungle farm Power of Evil has taken is actually from Acadian. So, you know, I don't actually find that to be super effective, but you know, Acadian and him are trying to be as efficient as possible and allowing themselves to kind of group out mid lane and push out there as a 2v2 duo, which is putting more pressure on Pobelter and Smithy, and then hopefully resulting in more scuttles and more counter jungling coming out eventually.
And even though it does feel like he is taking quite a bit of his own jungle, Acadian's numbers don't seem that far down. I don't know what the mark's supposed to be, but 94 CS on jungle Graves at 15 seems reasonable, right? Yeah. He's got about as much farm as the top laner does, and sure, Jokel's having maybe a hard time in this lane, but yeah, they're not really denying too much. I guess he's getting his own bit of counter jungling, so this does feel pretty efficient. We'll see if OpTic can get more maybe on this line of reasoning. At least they've been again, willing to try new things. They dedicated pretty hard to funnel. Now they're dedicating 1 out of 1 game so far on self-funnel in 8-13, and that is cool to see them, again, trying to find things that'll work for them, and they're getting close a lot of the time.
Yeah, and Power of Evil has always been a guy, you know, everyone kind of jokes about Nashor's Tooth and all his innovations with items, but, I mean, look at this build, right? This is a Shurelia's plus Runic Echoes with Chilling Smite.
Yeah.
He's
going to move really quick.
Yeah, he's going to be really fast. He's going to have an additional slow there, and it's going to be more about, I think, finding the correct target than necessarily dealing the maximum amount of damage. But it is an additional engage tool. Chase someone down, hit the Scatter of the Weak. Maybe you find a kill more easily off of that. Yep. But, you know, if you are not making use of that ultimate and kind of in conjunction with your Shurelia's finding better targets, well, then it's just going to be a less effective build, because as far as like actual damage you're putting out per ability, it will be lower.
And I think there's some sort of piece of this game that makes sense to go for a weird sort of more tidy build. Fiddlesticks on your team, give him move speed, let him crow storm people. There's a Tom Kent who's going to chomp your target anyway. Maybe one-shotting's never going to work this game regardless. Maybe you're trying to kite out the Mundo. There's a lot of little factors here, which again, I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt if there's at least a logical point to the play, and I think there is here, so I want to see it play out.
Yeah, definitely agree. It does make some sense. Just have to really track and see how effective it is in the actual game. Does that bet he's making pay off? And you can see Pobelter threatening the roam down to bottom side, but he already expended the ultimate, so not going to really have too much side lane threat without that. And Acadian Power of Evil shoving this out very quickly is going to once again pull them straight back to mid.
Yep. So mid lane, shoved right back in right here. Pobelter, turret down to about 20% HP. Rift Herald summoned, and can he stop Herald from charging? Because if not, that will be first turret. Chance of a stun comes through, and that is going to be a guaranteed pickup. Gold should all go over to Graves, getting credit as he did summon Rift Herald, and that's first turret gold over, and the game's still only tied right now.
It's just the farm deficits, really. You know, 40 CS down on this Heimerdinger, 2 double lift. That is not because of jungle intervention. That is just getting outplayed in that 2v2. And Impact is up, you know, about 30 CS up in the top lane, despite all the jungle help that he had in Acadian. So, you know, a lot of what they're doing is working as far as the team play, but they're kind of mismanaging that, losing some of their advantages, and Arrow going to get ganked.
1 versus 3. Acadian over the wall, puts on big rocks, but might not be enough. Still going to look for the shots on him. Can't quite get the kill, so a good escape there for Arrow. Silence comes through, but this is a very low health turret. A TP to hold the minion alive, but here comes Crowstorm. Looking for the big play. Impact not an easy target. Out he goes, stays alive.
Yeah, there's 5-man bot, though. They have to get this turret now. You're committing so much. Dokla didn't even bother to actually match the TP. He is still pushing top, so yeah, they're going to walk back up. They will be able to knock this down and match a turret. You can see Pobelter actually went back to base, so he may be the one sent up top to try to collect that farm if he can get there.
And Dokla gets burned his mana pool to shove. Instead of going for turret damage, knocking it down to maybe 1/3, he wants to make sure he's got the mana pool and the uptime on the map. Choice he made right there is Liquid, but once again bought themselves a 500 gold lead. And Scuttle goes down on the bottom side. You mentioned a little while ago, Devil is with a pretty substantial farm lead in the bottom lane, plus 50 CS right here. Interestingly enough, went Ninja Tabby against a 3 AP team, but I think he's more worried about Graves and Jarvan killing him. And saying, no, Tom Kench will save me against Syndra. It's the more unavoidable damage I'll defend myself against. We'll see if that's the best choice. I wouldn't have thought so, but wait to watch the game.
It's definitely interesting, you know, because you do see a lot of Jhin players going for Swifty boots, kind of avoiding some of the skill shots and avoiding things like the Scatter of the Week and the Heimer grenades and these sorts of things, and missiles even, is going to be very important. But either way, shouldn't make too much of a difference. Likely working towards the rapid fire, same kind of style build that we saw earlier, although it was Hail of Blades Jhin instead of this more kind of defensive style to survive the laning phase with work.
That's pretty much always going to see Storm Razor and Rapid Fire on Jhin for a while until either someone invents something new or items get changed around. This feels very smooth, very clean, and probably optimal on him in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Either way, 700 gold difference in these teams. PoE going back for his own blue buff here. And kind of want to take stock of where the teams are headed. A while ago, you talked about how everyone on OpTic can be a very big damage dealer. This Fiddlestick's only 2 levels away from rank 2 ulti, could be a nice spike, and a 3-0 Heimer can be scary, but kind of tracking all their big farmers, whereas Liquid was, again, a 2 carry team, Doublelift and Pobelter, with tanks in front.
Yeah, and Pobelter and Doublelift obviously are having a lot of farm, you know, more farm kind of than their counterparts, so they are going to be very powerful, and it's going to be so much about how you can protect your team. You can see Dokla is opting at least for kind of 2 damage items, perhaps going to be able to finish that Titanic. He could go back into full tank right now, but right now he is fairly squishy, right? And it's going to be some time before he even develops himself into any sort of front line. So you know, if TL can actually peel properly, all they have to do in a team fight, you don't really want to be the ones to dive. You just taunt anyone, you focus that person down, you're just buying time, buying space with Olay and Smithy and Impact, and Doublelift and Pobelter just have to focus whatever is in front of them, because anyone is a good target on OpTic. For OpTic, it's about finding the engage, finding, you know, a Scatter of the Week out of vision, finding that Fiddlestick's ultimate coming in over the wall and really picking off the carries. They can't afford to, I don't think, to fight frontline to frontline unless they want to kite backwards.
Seemingly OpTic not able to as well, as they look kind of at the Drake, but Team Liquid already there, and no one's going to stop him. So Double Mountain now in here for Liquid. The chance to rush down Baron Nashor now that it's spawned at this point. Pretty much a fairly real possibility, even with only 2 carries. Your damage up's not too bad. Chile pretty good at knocking down Baron as long as you haven't worked the ground beforehand. And Uzo not terrible at damage either. Top lane does get pushed down, though, because I think Impact Group have to make sure that the Drake could happen. Dokla got alone time top lane, has managed to get the farm pretty close, and has made the scoreline for turrets actually 2-1. Of course, got the mid lane earlier with Acadian and that Rift Herald. Game once again within 200.
Yeah, going to be pretty interesting when those fights do start to break out. I mean, QSS is complete on Olay, and he is kind of, you know, the QSS for Doublelift. But he has to make sure that he is not getting CC'd up and actually can't devour Doublelift at that key time. So him buying that item early on is fairly important, especially when there is a lot of AoE crowd control. If you both get caught by the same Cinder Stun, you get hit by the same kind of silences coming out here from Big. That can be very, very problematic. But you know, it feels like for OpTic for now, they just kind of want to stay in the side lanes, keep Dokla pushing out waves and control vision and kind of look for opportunities, look for picks. TL feeling like they have to play a lot more reactively.
Yeah, it does seem that way. They're playing around the little points of power and respecting what Acadian can do.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have the 2 real carries, and you have to fight around those guys, right? And whereas OpTic is going to be probably a lot happier to look for skirmishes, and here's the engage.
Goes in the back line, gets the fear. Pretty decent damage. The triple walker comes through, and they don't quite get the kill as Olay picks up to leave. But the re-engage could be good. Dunks him, spits him back over the wall. Nowhere to go, though, for this 4-time catch. How far is out, and he's going to fall. Power of Evil gets the kill. A 1-for-0. Lots of ults burn, but a kill is a kill.
Yeah, Mundo's still pushing in the side lane, so we'll see if OpTic can get anything more off of this. Dokla is going back to actually try to follow up, and a good engage there from Big. The big prize they wanted was actually Pobelter. They weren't quite able to get him. You can see Arrow struggling a little bit actually with the combo that Jat was demonstrating earlier. You're not getting his turret out quickly enough after the ulted grenade, so he missed out on the laser. He missed out on some of the actual additional damage that could have come out and perhaps helped to burst down Pobelter, but OpTic still does go positive in the fight. They do get 2 flashes, and they do get a kill.
And we're getting more insight into Power of Evil's build as well. He's now gone for Spellbinder's Orb, so it's move speed Syndra.
Let's go quick.
It's get in there to land the stun to find the pick, and we can see this right here as Big goes for the ult, and they follow up.
Yeah, Big looking for the ult in. Again, they really want to get Pobelter, setting this up very well. There's the fear into the ult grenade. You can see the turret came down very late. He actually missed out on both lasers, the laser from the rocket and the laser from the grenade there, unfortunately. But they do pick up Olay. It was a good job from him, not only saving Pobelter, but also holding onto his QSS. There's no actual reason you're at that point just going to die, so you may as well at least save what cooldowns that you can.
Yeah, they helped stand netted as well. They did not send Ole. I think they assumed he would die through the shield. It's good they could clearly see the fight going on. He said, nah, it probably is not worth the cooldown. Right or wrong choice that he made. 3-kill lead to OpTic, but the gold's still identical between these two teams. Liquid up those two Mountain Drakes and looking to see to a little bit of top lane, but not too much right now. Attempted fear for Big, and outgoes Shen, not going to matter too much.
Yeah, Pobelter now on his death cap, so he has 3 items. He has double spell pen. And remember, again, this is a very squishy team. The only person with any magic resist whatsoever is now Dokla, who is building a little bit of that up. But double spell pen, death cap, runic echoes is really a powerful 3-item spike for Pobelter. And if any CC is actually set up, if there is a taunt hit on any of these members besides maybe Dokla, it is an insta-kill with a fling there from Pobelter. So OpTic definitely going to have to play very well individually. You can't necessarily rely on your front line. You have to be sure that you're on point, flashing away from taunts, avoiding the crowd control, or you're going to pay for it.
Well, then watch out for this one. There's Zonia's Hourglass at least on one person, but otherwise, yes, high lethality in this game. Despite not having any physical damage assassins. Either way, OpTic, again, clearing the mid lane wave. Arrow being sent to the mid lane. They're sending Jarvan now bot lane of this one as he has teleport, the only one not named Heimerdinger on his team. Be ready for those Baron attempts eventually. 25 minutes into the game, and again, double Mountain makes it quite easy for Team Liquid.
Yeah,
no one's
Big,
up there.
Big is going to work towards that. Zonia's as well. Wants to be more of a team fight threat, be able to dive in the backline, be more disruptive. Because he is very, very squishy at this point. So if you do go into the backline, you can just kind of get popped. Zonia's is really going to create a lot of space, buy a lot of time, because even if you fly in and you're not actually killing off Doublelift or Pobelter, you're creating this zone that they can't walk through in the middle of the team fight and buying time for the rest of your carries to then focus down the front line from Tia.
And I want to give actually a lot of credit to Stormflip being a very good item. You don't have to use the active for it to be obscenely gold efficient in a team fight. In Roth has to pay. So now with the knock of the fear into the back line. How much can they get as Big? Rockets come through and out goes Big, but no kills just yet. TV coming back in to re-engage and will not make that one all the way through. I think smart for Impact to not join that fight.
Yeah, not quite enough damage. Impact should be able to walk this one out, but OpTic is heading down. It's another engage from Big. This one doesn't result in a kill, but he is doing a pretty good job of actually finding the engages. The follow-up is just not fully there to actually burst down Pobelter, and again, he's able to kind of get away with the help of Olay.
And Team Liquid didn't really burn any major cooldowns in the escapes. They used 0 ultimates and 0 flashes. A cancel teleport is all that it took, and that was Big actually flashing away to stay alive at Keaton. I think flashed in as well to help get kills. So OpTic burned resources were not rewarded, but they might still have the pressure to go for this as the Infernal Drake is under siege.
We'll find out. They're actually sending 3 members up over to the Baron. You have to always remember Heimer's Baron taking strength. The double is in the area. Here comes Stand United.
That's the wall. They're going for this big play. And Todd's going to come across only onto one. Does not quite hit onto Acadian as Dokla finds the blast plant, jumps away, stays alive. And here comes the attempted snipes. Doublelift. 1, 2, 3, and 4 misses. Well, he tried at least very much. 1 kill already did come through, which was the Drake being picked up. Now Dokla doesn't have many places to go. Does get found out. Walter gets the kill credit onto this one. TL get the Drake and a kill.
Big could look for an ult, but not finding opportunity just yet. TL has to be careful about this. They're trying to come over as a team. They know that a lot of people are missing, and they did actually, I think, spot Heimerdinger as he stepped out of the bush, but Pobelter
looks for the big grenade. Might have gotten a slow, but Pobelter now popping Zonia's Hourglass. Cross not too much of anything. Devil getting feared up, though, still getting the first kill and able to walk away pretty cleanly. Pobelter still has to kite away, but Big not exactly dangerous. A quick 2 for 0. And again, Liquid winning the fights.
Yeah, winning the fight in Impact. Staying alive here could look to kind of threaten the chase down, but that was close. I mean, Doublelift flashing forward, trying to get the kill. Not able to quite get it. Almost has it turned around on him, and Ole had to flash in, had to save Doublelift. But again, it is TL surviving just barely. This one did cost a lot more of the ultimates. You can see the initial play, the grenade just wide, and Pobelter, good early Zonias. If he waits any longer, he gets feared or silenced by Big. He does die, and then Doublelift flashing in there gets feared up immediately by Big. That almost bursted down before being saved there by Ole. Still, it's a couple kills for Liquid, and them starting to carve out a bit of an advantage.
They really are right now. 2,000 gold. They're looking for a bit more in the mid lane as there's still a wave that has not been cleared easily by Arrow. Impact actually managing to tank all those shots means another turret will fall, and Liquid tie up the turret score 2-2. Slow, methodical team. 16 total kills in 28 minutes. but holding on to a gold lead all the same.
And they do have that marksman scaling up. Pobelter looking very, very strong at this point. Impact almost to his Warmog, so these are item completions that are going to be very, very important and buying a lot of time. And we saw the Stone Blade actually be very effective. You had pointed that out, but therefore Dokli was able to actually get the active off just before the fling came through from Pobelter, and that helped to kind of keep him safe there. We'll see where they can actually find their pressure, though, as OpTic certainly can kill Baron extremely fast, and TL has to be careful about that.
Big Smithy stunned up, big damage chance right back, and can happily be saved by Ole if needed. Now Arrow might have to run back as well, as they're going to be a re-engage as Impact can run forward. To get through in the front line, Dokli going to take up some of the damage, try to keep his teammates alive, and Arrow going to flash away as the wall falls. And Azonia's buys some more seconds as well, but still it's an attempted escape and attempted run. Looks like the health bars will stay up, and OpTic, they're going to look to maybe posture yet again. As big as over the wall, but no Crow Storm. Out they go, no deaths.
Yeah, beautiful Weaver's wall there from Pobelter to really help turn around the fight. Corralling a lot of those members there for Impact and for Doublelift, who had popped the curtains call. He's looking to get a couple picks, but good play around vision here from OpTic. This is what they need to look for. They need to be creating these dark spots that TL has to check into where Big can find picks, and Pobelter should be spotted here. There they go.
Storm Fear, this time nobody in range. Smithy gonna go for the top by a few seconds, and Azonis by a few more as well. And Ole is here, but not in time. A nice pickup there. That's gonna be one picked up and a second. Power People joining in for a bit more, and now it's Dokla finding no flash for Ole. Does have thick skin, but is there even a way out? No, a 3 for 0, and Baron is on the map.
Should be theirs. I mean, I don't see any way that Doublelift can check into this. There's no vision, no chance they can get over. It's going to be a clean Baron here for OpTic. 2 picks. Pobelter caught on a ward there. OpTic doing such a good job playing around vision, and Big finds the engage. They will perhaps create a turret here on the bottom side, and Doublelift is pushing out mid, but that is generally the lesser of the prize.
That is a trade I will always take. Baron for bot lane tier 2 is an absolutely wonderful pickup right there. OpTic Gaming have turned this one back around, still down 1,000 gold, but what a huge fight right here. Big, massive.
Yeah, here it is again. Nice D4 there from Big. They have triple pink ward in the area, flash in, lands the fear. Smithy whipping the taunt on actually both players there, not able to connect, and Ole was not in his back pocket there this time, so Ole trying to come over, trying to save Pobelter, but not in time, and then gets caught out by Dokla. 3rd kill, 3 for 0, and the Baron go to OpTic, and now they can really look to start pressing here.
Absolutely huge stuff. PoE getting even more move speed, by the way. Ether Wisp in the build. Maybe Lichbane. I'm trying to think what else he can build out of that item. Oh, Spooky Ghost could be it, I suppose. So, Lichbane or Spooky Ghost, vote in chat. Tell me what you think it is.
I mean, it's working out so well for him. We haven't seen too much. It's been more about kind of skirmishes and him just following up and kind of bursting someone down. But he's been able to be in the right place at the right time. So certainly not much room for criticism on the build just yet. And they are looking to kind of threaten this outer turret on the bottom side of the map, try to grab some easy gold. But TL is faster on the push, and there are 4 members in mid lane looking to draw OpTic back to them. They say, no, we will not face check into you. We're just going to push elsewhere and try to fight on our own terms.
Well, OpTic aren't pulling for the recalls. The duo lane's still running around bot lanes, which means mid tier 2 is going to fall. Liquid still remaining up 4-3 in turret score, and OpTic chose to not recall, kept the duo lane down there, and then got afraid of pushing the turret because of TL's play. So Macro not doing them any favors. They actually dropped more of the map than they gained. Yeah,
I mean, TL just kind of outplaying them around the map there. They do have Stand United available if this gets too dangerous, but Impact has Warmogs. He will pop the Stone Plate, but he's not going to have to commit the ult. No Stand United needed. They will keep that alive for now, and we'll see how TL can kind of navigate this. I mean, 4 members of OpTic bot now means they should be able to knock down this turret pretty easily.
Very, very healthy Dr. Mundo. Only the Warmogs needed to get back to full HP. The ultimate still waiting in the wings, so finally OpTic can get that bot lane tier 2 traded. Make that scoreline 4-4. Only a minute, 20 seconds left on the Baron. They're actually not getting that much with it. Sure, their gold lead isn't really there. They're not big bullies aside from that buff, but now look for mid tier 2 as they knock down some of this vision, some of these traps. Nice little stun up there. It's actually going to be pulled through a bit low as the cannon continues to shoot, and one more will knock the turret down. No, it switches aggro to the minions. That turret's going to stand.
Yeah, at least for now, one more wave, they may be able to get in there for an auto or knock it down. We'll see if they can, but the wave in the top side of the map was not actually prepped by OpTic, so it's pushing for TL, so that is kind of buying them some more time as well. Mid lane turret will go down. That's another over to the side of OpTic, though, and they are at least keeping things very, very close, but this certainly has not been the type of Baron that is a death blow, and the 3 kills plus Baron buff has really just kind of gone to equalize the game. So it's still going to come down to performance in the team fights, playing around vision for OpTic, which they have been doing very well. And we're going to have to find out if they really can continue to find these picks, because if you fail to find that good initiation, you get locked up in a team fight that is extended. Double Up and Pobelter certainly can take over.
So, quick Cloudrick picked up their OpTic, get one of those neutral buffs, and now the attempt to play them in lane. Shen plus Tom Kench and Talia, they can all show up at once! And the Heimerdinger is flattened down right there. Quick one picked up, Liquid answering back now with their 9th kill of the game.
Yeah, 4 members just popping out. It's like a clown car coming out of TL there. In the mid lane, not much chance for Arrow to get out of that one. He does go down pretty easily, and it's going to be TL on the aggressor. Once again, you can see they're heading back up the top lane to get that pushing, but can start to take away some of OpTic's jungle, start to reestablish some vision control, and already a bunch of wards dropped on this side of the map to try to help them in their eventual push, because you always need to know where Fiddlesticks could be, where the engage could be coming from, because if you do not know where they are, it's going to look pretty rough for you in some of these fights.
Yeah, Grillstrom's up to a solid 1,400 damage over the duration.
Yeah.
Sure, no magic pen in the build, all this other stuff, but that is still a very meaningful chunk of damage, in addition to the Giant Fear, of course. Baron power play, because it was worth 750 total gold to kill Arrow, plus 300 for a shutdown bonus, that actually kind of gutted the Baron power play, being worth over 2K to being worth less than the Baron itself.
Yeah, so not the best Baron power play, but still, OpTic holding even here, and you would say coming into this game, 35 minutes in, would OpTic take an even slate against TL? And I definitely think they would. TL, considered by many to be the best team in North America, and OpTic sitting at 2-4, are certainly making this a very, very competitive game. After their week off at Rift Rivals, they're looking to prove that they are a contender for the top of the table, and TL, I think, trying to kind of reestablish some faith in their team and their squad, and show that they are still a force to be reckoned with, and that they have learned from their mistakes. They can deal with Heimerdinger.
I think it will take them some time to build that cachet back. OpTic, sad as it has been, only 2-4 so far in North America, and Liquid, I think, have a lot to do to rekindle that trust, but a win will certainly begin that road as they continue to scale up here. The items stack on. Quicksilver Sash upgraded to Scimitar, done for Double Lift, and you've been mentioning for a while how big Poets has been getting. He's up to full items now, actually.
Yeah.
Have to sell something to replace the slot anymore, so he's done scaling. A full 2 slots really ready for Xfinity to keep going as the second support. And only 1 to replace here for Double Lift. This Funnel Champion now is going to stop scaling, essentially.
Yeah.
Twin Shadows did come through, by the way, so Power People also full up on slots.
Yeah, very unique item builds here as well. But a lot of cheap items he could replace if he wants to kind of look to do that. Shirelia's, Twin Shadows, even the Runic Echoes. Both these mages with Smite could actually swap out for a true Runic Echoes, which is kind of a more powerful version of that item, albeit more expensive. But as they collect that gold, they can kind of optimize their 6 slots. Double Lift, actually ahead in item progression now above Arrow. Not because of kills, but he's up 130 CS above Arrow, right? Arrow is just not farming as effectively as Double Lift, so part of that is because the farm is being shared more evenly across these members, as there are kind of more damage threats on OpTic, and a part of that is just kind of a better job moving around the map and finding that farm from Double Lift.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's plus 100 for the Mundo as well. Impact got quite a bit of gold on himself. Level 18 to the 17 of the guy up there. The taunt's going to stop Crowstorm, and a flash out for Big keeps him alive. This could be a very, very good fight as TL wants to get in there, looks for Arrow. Oh, and Big never got out of the cone, so he gets shot down to the very end of it all. And now here comes Tom Kench yet again. Arrow, he's going to have a very hard time getting away from this one. He's got to be flashless. He's got some turrets, but it does not matter. Zonia's buys 2.5 seconds, but he will still drop down a 2-for-0 to Liquid, and now on the backside, Welter. Zonia's in hand. Shen coming back around to keep him alive. This could be very dangerous, though. Dokla, can he even get out? Double's got a crit ready. Not yet in range to land this one. Pops Scimitar for move speed.
No, you can't catch that guy, but they can go straight to the Baron. I mean, the Baron is actually on the table here. You can see that Katie and Power of Evil are still around. A critical that they did stay alive. Will TL have the confidence to go for it? For now, it looks like they just want to push mid, because OpTic was in position expecting that Baron, and TL will just run it straight down here, and will be able to get themselves an inhibitor.
The calls inhibitor with Acadian still having Flash and Smite available. They say, okay, we'll take the sure thing, and Hibs can't run away and can't be Smite stolen. So mid objective is gone. Waves manicured pretty well in a couple of the side lanes, and out goes Team Liquid, and could still go for the Baron setup, just with more opponents alive.
Yeah, it is a bit risky to try to go for Baron now, as they are all respawning and Waves are kind of pushing in on the bottom side of the map, but TL can at the very least get vision try to establish a little bit of control around there.
Actually, recalling might be hard now because all of OpTic have respawned, have bot, and have full resource bars, so TL must stay. Cannot spend the gold from their last fight. OpTic are going to look better in this battle than you might think based on the scoreboard at the very top. If they can get into that battle, TL would love to somehow reset without losing Baron vision, but it's going to be hard. They chose to stay on the map after the kills.
Yeah, the items are definitely very even across the board here. There was a bit of an advantage with that Infernal over to TL, but OpTic can kill this so fast. 5 DPS, they're not even bothering to clear out the wards.
Again, TL haven't bought. There's like 8,000 gold in inventory right now. Looking for this play, big, waiting on the other side of the wall. Here comes the jump in for Talia. 5,000 health on this Baron, and they can't actually see into the pit just yet. Now they finally can. Impact on the wings, big, waiting for his big moment, flanking around, goes through the fog of war. Now there's a jump in the front lines, don't play it on, double gets the first kill, and now to the back line comes the Crowstorm. A surprise party for TL as Impact is chasing down for Arcade, and he cannot be killed. He's just chasing forward, and the headbutt gets the kill. Make it a 2 for 3 for 0 maybe at this point, as now Smithy is still staying alive. More kills coming across, and OpTic just could not handle the team fight. 4 for 0 Team Liquid.
And that's going to be the game. I mean, look at the respawn timers. They can just run straight down mid, pinging onto the Nexus turrets there. It was a close one between TL and OpTic, but Liquid are going to be back on top after this win.
Looking for this big one right now. Power Field looking to make something happen. Goes for the stun. A quick preemptive stand. United keeps Double Lift alive. PoE against the world. Gonna have a very hard time keeping his Nexus alive. Nice dodge away from the first top, but the building's still falling. Wreck-It Ralph with the crew. One already caught. Knocked down the second one rapidly, and now the flash forward. Looking for the taunt. Just make sure they can pad the KDA. Power of Evil will get a second death of the game as the Nexus falls, and Team Liquid finally get a win on the board.
Nicely done there by Liquid. OpTic playing on the knife's edge for so long with this squishy comp that kept finding the good engages, but this one definitely going the way of Liquid in that final fight. Not able to really get on top of the carries, not able to knock down Pobelter or Double Lift at the start of the fight, and Impact kind of running amok in the back line there, chasing down Acadian.
Yeah.
The Mundo really kind of showing off that strength in the late game.
Impact definitely outperforming Dokla in this game. I say we look at the damage graphic for the game. Actually a pretty solid smattering of damage across the Team Liquid. Even Big had a pretty decent sized game for himself as far as output was concerned. But yes, Liquid, the better team. And this was the expectation coming in, absolutely. You're coming in 4-2 versus 2-4. You're supposed to win this game. In 40 minutes, I don't know if that means Liquid's playing a bit weaker or OpTic's playing a bit better, but I think the game was closer than expectation.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, this was by no means an easy win for TL. 40-minute slugfest there. Definitely a tough one for them. And I mean, OpTic, I think, did a lot of things right. They played very well around vision. They were able to kind of find a lot of picks and engages with Big. But it never fully came together. They were never able to kind of get everyone on top of the carries and really kill someone off right at the start of the fight. It always felt a little bit unorganized. You'd see mistakes as far as, okay, well, not everyone fully committed in, or you know, a skill shot was missed, or an ultimate wasn't used, or there was always these little errors that kind of stacked up as I'm being attacked.
And flies come back to NA.
and that's one of the things that really can come back to bite you, you know. And I was kind of nitpicking a little bit with Arrow, because I'm watching him. We had that segment about Heimerdinger mechanics and just kind of watching, you know, after watching Jet, you know, talk about those mechanics. And very frequently, Arrow was not actually executing on that. And these little things can sometimes make a difference.
Definitely, there were a lot of close margins here where a bit more damage could have tipped it over the edge. A lot of things could have been contributing to that factor. Either way, it was a win for Team Liquid. So now, to give us their thoughts on how the game played out, let's send it down to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak, and thank you to Afromove for joining us after your victory today. Team Liquid as well, picking up a victory to move to 5-2 over OpTic Gaming, but it wasn't pretty. Wasn't pretty for either team, as we will break down in just a moment. Before we get into gameplay itself, I want to talk about this draft. Once again, another Heimer picked up.
Yeah, Heimer is very, very OP, as we saw from Rift Rivals, but NA Heimers, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we were talking before the game, and how many pro games do you think it takes for a Heimer to be good? Like, I mean, how many just solo queue games to be good Heimer? We were saying maybe even 50, like for a pro player.
Yeah, I would agree with 50. There's so many combos with Heimer, and being able to place your turrets, cast an ability at the same time, know which upgrade ability to use in team fights is like
in which
very
situation
important. Requires so many games.
To put some other context to it, just as a champion that I know you've been practicing and brought out, Pike, how many games would you say you've put into solo queue on that champion to get it stage ready?
50.
About 50 as well?
Yeah, it needs 100 though.
It needs 100.
Yeah.
You guys won. What are you talking about? Fair enough. Breaking down the rest of the draft, how do we feel about it? We had a Jarvan in the top lane as a response to the Mundo, where Darius has been picked up by other teams.
Yeah, that whole draft was just a bit of a question mark for me. Like, I know Doka can pay GP. Like, GP wasn't banned. You could have tried taking the GP into the Mundo, which people have done to try and beat the scaling, because eventually in this game, Mundo went crazy. But at the same time, TL's comp only had 2 damage threats, and there were a number of times those guys got picked off. And then, like, it just felt like neither team felt super practiced on the comps that they were running, or the champions that they were running here.
Now, with that, we had the funnel on one side. We had the mid lane smite on the other for the Syndra. So definitely looking to try and get Power of Evil some advantages in that mid lane and on that Syndra pick. I want to dive into the game itself, though, Jat, and take a look at this 12-minute replay where the first real kills come through in the game. Up to this point, Heimerdinger was down a significant amount of CS, picks up 3 kills within this fight alone.
Yeah, this fight was definitely messy. You can see Ole sees a big play on Tahm Kench, but Power of Evil realizes there's now an 80 carry within 500 range of him and can full combo him. So it's a huge failure right at the start for TL.
Yeah, but they managed to trade back 1-for-1 initially. It looks like they might get out. Heimer cuts them off. They get the kill onto Ole. And this is where it starts getting very good for OpTic, even though Heimer takes a quick detour in the river before coming back to the mid lane to, with his excellent mechanics, clean up this triple kill.
Yeah, well, he throws his empowered E right here, actually gets the slow but not the stun, because his aim is actually pretty wide, but he gets the slow, he picked up 1 kill, and then he actually gets 3 kills at the end of it. So I think if he was a more practiced Heimerdinger, like you would see from Yarnan, getting that gold would give you a lot more teamfight control than it ended up giving him, because I don't think he actually made great use of that gold from the teamfight.
Right, not just in the fights, but in the lane phase as well, picking up more CS. Wasn't the most successful Heimerdinger that we've seen as of yet. Of course, I do want to move to our next replay 30 minutes in. OpTic Gaming coming out 3-for-0, plus a Baron at this point. Things still looking good.
And this is kind of one of the nice plays that we're talking about, where like the Mundo was not here. They had just reset, and they were able to find Pobelter just slowly working his way back through his own jungle. And this initial kill kind of sets up OpTic to look like they might have a chance to win this game, despite what we thought would be a scaling problem for their team comp.
Yeah, and you can see as well
Move speed Syndra.
the move speed Cinder, where he just seemed like he was getting a bunch of those
The
items.
most baffling build path.
Puts him in a position, but if they didn't get something like
celerity.
that, if they didn't get something
Wait, did he
like
really
that
not have celerity?
No celerity on that Syndra.
celerity.
celerity
I'm so upset.
on the Syndra. But if they didn't get something like that pick, then they weren't able to execute anything. As soon as they were in the full-on team fights, they didn't have any damage to kill Mundo. And as Afro
They
kept
had no
pointing out,
Grievous either, I think.
yeah, they
on
had
their
1
team.
Grievous from Heimerdinger.
Oh, okay.
And we saw the accuracy on those skill shots to set up the Grievous wounds on the Mundo.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
If you are on the Team Liquid side in that game, how confident are you're coming out with a victory from game start, from 0? Just like based on comp.
Playing against Heimer and Syndra is really scary because they
Okay.
can snowball early.
Yeah.
But Heimer wasn't really doing too much in the game.
Right.
So as long as they were able to scale, let Mundo scale, no one could kill Mundo on their team.
Okay, so at minute 0, maybe you're a little bit terrified that they
Yeah.
get the ball rolling and they completely steamroll you. But by the time we get to 30 minutes, you think Team Liquid is sitting pretty and they're feeling pretty confident
Yeah,
that as long
definitely.
as they don't
Especially
make some major
because-
throw.
Because they're running funnel, they have double sidestone. So they can put out more wards versus their bursty comp that they have.
This is something we don't talk about very often.
Exactly.
The fact that double sightstone comes in when you have a funnel. Let's take a second to talk about the advantages of that right now.
Yeah, well, obviously, the changes happened, so you can no longer build Sightstone, you have to stack it up. But Baron control, getting picks, preventing getting picked off, all those things are greatly enhanced, because that was pretty much the only funnel advantage that TL had that game. When you were comparing the jungle mid CS 25, 30 minutes into the game, OpTic was actually up by about 50 in that game, because the Power of Evil Smite plus the Graves was actually outpacing. But once you have no Sightstone and also no good way to kill Mundo.
All right, well, now we're well beyond 30 minutes. We're going to go into the final fight of the game. Of course, Team Liquid coming out on top in this one.
This is one of those instances where you see it feels like OpTic's getting pretty desperate, so they're trying to force this Baron, and Big is looking for a flank, but those wards that we're talking about, able to spot him coming around the backside, as well as the fact the front half of the fight was not working out. Dokla dropped right away, so by the time Big shows up, nothing really doing, and there's Mundo just charging through the entire backline, and the Graves is just not able to deal with him at all.
My God.
300 health per tick, as the Graves auto attack did about the same.
Yeah,
Right,
that
needed
could have
an
been reduced to
executioner.
150 if he spent 800 gold on Executioner's Calling as well, which we have to point out Acadian didn't. One of the other stories of this game were some of the weird builds from OpTic. The Power of Evil, I know he does a lot of math and theory crafting, but we have to talk about the fact that he went Runic Echoes, Shirelias, Spellbinder, he had a Twin Shadows,
When you
some
talk
point
when
in
you
the
talk
game.
about that threshold, Aframu, where that team comp can get scary, I can't imagine that threshold involves those items. There's a Rabadon's in there.
Yeah.
Maybe a Morello's. For
Pretty
some,
much say in the game, my mid lane is trolling. We don't want to win. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, to a degree, it felt like it. But now I want to move away from this game and kind of talk about Team Liquid coming off of Rift Rivals and whether or not this victory here really inspires any confidence or makes up for any of the things that we talked about at the top of the day around Team Liquid inconsistency and what has been exposed during the Rift Rivals week.
I think so one of us said it. We're like, you take the W, but this was not for me like a feels good win. It wasn't like, okay, that was a competent Heimer that we went out and beat and learned what we lost to at Rift Rivals, and now we know how to deal with Heimer, because it was a Fiddle Heimer lane that was just losing on its own. So to me, I didn't find that particularly like, they really learned something. They just looked like a better team than OpTic, which I would have thought before Rift Rivals.
When you look at Team Liquid, what would you pinpoint as like their biggest strengths as a team at this moment?
I think they all lane very, very well. Very impressive. Every laning phase, they either lose gracefully or win with a bad matchup. And they definitely play really well towards their win conditions and set up fights with the correct vision all the time. Smithy and Ole, a big part of that. And their execution in team fights is very good too.
All right, that's going to close this game here. I do want to ask you one more question, Aframu. 100 Thieves with the swap on to in. You guys picked up a great win today, looking to push forward. My question is basically, what are your aspirations for this squad, and what do you think you guys can achieve both within the domestic split and looking towards Worlds?
Definitely look to make it to Worlds. We did finish second, got a lot of points for that, and playoffs is going to be very important, but right now we're just focused on giving more time to Anda on stage and being able to work through our micro, and stuff like that, make sure everyone's on the same page and see what we can do.
One foot in front of the other. Thank you for joining us. Best of luck to you guys in your future games. Up next, Sneaky makes his return to the Cloud9 roster as they go up against FlyQuest. See which team picks up the win when we return.
Try to contest this stuff.
Ooh, Tom Flash comes in, the knockback. They have all the damage they need. First blood, but I'm not going to trade in. How's it going to look as the ult comes across? Both are getting low on health. One more hit will do him in, and Douglas gets the kill.
No flash, no flash.
Help me.
Dodge it, dodge it, baby!
Nice.
Nice.
They're now popping Zhonya's hourglass. Cross from not much of anything. Devil getting feared up, though, still getting the first kill and able to walk away pretty clean.
They're not finishing. I'm gonna grabs.
We are good. We're good. We won.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a KDA player.
If meat and bread are the backbone of a sub, then Mike's Way is the heart and soul. Lettuce and tomatoes, onions and spices, all drizzled in the juice. That's the difference. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.